When a person's baptized, at the very moment the water is poured over their head and the formula is uttered, the Holy Trinity makes of that person their home. Okay? So as St. Paul says in the second reading for today's liturgy, you become a temple of the Holy Spirit, a temple of the Most High God. And as long as a person's in the state of grace, you have full access to the Holy Trinity, to the very being who's responsible for the existence of everything else. So that's an awesome message. That's really good news. And it's a message that I would say is really important for people in today's world and society to hear, because we're living in a society that's tending more towards loneliness. Now, how do you get access to the Trinity? How do you get access to the God, the Most High God dwelling inside you? Well, as I said, you can have access to God anytime, for example, when you go to prayer. But if you want to give yourself the best chance at accessing this awesome love, then two conditions are really helpful. And that's the SH formula, silence and humility. So silence, I've said this before, silence is on God's side. A person who spends intentional time in prayerful silence, that's almost identical with God's presence. Obviously, there's a distinction there, but silence is so important, and it's so attractive to God. Remember in the Gospels when Jesus casts out a demon, very often he would tell the demon to be silent. The first thing he would say is silence. So silence is indispensable for accessing God. But nowadays it's increasingly harder because we're surrounded by so much noise and distraction. The second part of that formula, the H part of that formula, is humility. It's the attitude that says, you're God, I'm not. You're the giver, I'm just the receiver. In other words, approaching God like an empty bucket. God, our lives are like a bucket. In order for God to fill us completely with His goodness and His pure love, first we need to empty the bucket of all the junk that's already in there. So approaching God in a place of reception, saying, God, you're the giver, I'm the receiver. So in a world that's tending ever more towards loneliness, always keep in mind that you have at your disposal the Holy Trinity dwelling inside you. And that presence is best accessed by the SH formula or the sh formula. And that is with silence and humility.